Let's talk about online public school at home, the virtual K through 12 programs, and some of the pros and cons. I know right now with everything going on, that is something that parents are really looking into, and so I want to share with you my experience with a couple of them and some thoughts and things to keep in mind. So let's get started. Hi there, my name is Karen, and if you're new here, welcome. If you'd like to go from questions to confidence when it comes to homeschooling, I'm here to answer questions. And so we're going to answer the question today, what about these virtual public school at home K through 12 programs? Now, I know for some parents, they might not feel very comfortable kind of just jumping into the whole homeschooling thing, just being completely on their own. But I do recommend the Robinson curriculum. That's what we use. And if you're going that route, the Robinson curriculum truly is just so easy to implement. It just focuses on the 3 R's, 2 hours of math, 1 hour of writing, 2 hours of reading. It's got a fantastic classic book list, books that are just being tossed out the window in public schools today. So that's something to keep in mind. It's just a really solid program. It's meant for parents not to get burnt out. It's completely self-taught. You just teach them how to read and help them learn their math facts, and then they're on their own. It's a self-taught, self-motivated, great approach to homeschooling. But I understand some parents are just not quite there yet, and maybe this is that bridge, these online public schools at home. So let's talk about some of the pros. It is free, that's probably the biggest one. It's completely paid for. You get, depending on which one you choose, more materials than others. I could tell you sometimes it's an overwhelming amount of materials, especially if you're a minimalist. It's a lot, especially if you have a lot of children. Some others, not quite so much, pretty much just textbooks, but others will send you rock collections and art supplies and just tons of stuff. So that's something to keep in mind, but you might have to return majority of that at the end of the year. So that is a little bit of a pain. You have to keep track of everything. Now, the reason why I have some experience in this is because prior to doing the Robinson curriculum, kind of the last straw before I switched over was a virtual K through 12 program. And then also recently for my son, in order to qualify for the ESA, the Empowerment Scholarship, which pays for special needs, speech therapy, different kind of things like that for the state. To cover that, you have to first complete a certain amount of hours in a public school or online public school. So we did do that so that he could qualify in order to get that scholarship to help pay for speech therapy and things like that. And I could talk a little bit about that in this video or make a separate video completely on that. There are options, there is resources out there. Now, I realize that each state probably has different programs, but they seem to be kind of similar, maybe just rebranded differently. So what I'm going to talk about is K through 12, Connections Academy, and Sequoia, which are the 3 big popular ones here in my state. K through 12, pros and cons. Pros, depending if you like this sort of thing, you get a lot of materials. Cons, it is very online. Like when they say online public schooling, majority of it is on screens. When we tried it at our house, we had 3 computers going in one room and just trying to make sure everybody was in their classes. There's a lot of classes. Now they say that it's optional, but it's kind of heavily suggested that you attend these classes. And if you're the kind of mom that wants to check everything off, you're going to be very overwhelmed because there's a lot of classes, and there's a lot of assignments, a lot to do online for each subject. So that's K through 12. You are dealing with the teacher for each of your children. So you're taking more of a kind of learning coach than a homeschooling parent. You're just kind of directing everything. There's just a lot to keep track of when it comes to record keeping as well. Okay, so that is K-12. Out of all of them, it seems to be, if I could pick a word for it, like the most hardcore, like the most intensive. Now, Connections Academy, I've had friends use that one, and from what I could tell from their experience, a lot of the materials are used. A lot of used books get shipped to you. So it's funny because they're getting the same amount of money as a public school student as far as funding, thousands and thousands of dollars, but yet those costs don't seem to trickle down to the students. You know, at K12, you get a computer, one at least. You get monthly, you know, coverage of internet expenses, things like that. It didn't seem like Connections Academy, you had that. Correct me if I'm wrong if you get a laptop with them. I'm not sure. Even with K12, it was just one per household, but still. Connections Academy, I think you just get kind of the internet, you know, allowance, things like that. You will learn a lot though by just reading the reviews. Read as many reviews as possible. Now, the last one I want to talk to you about, and my favorite out of the three, if I could pick a favorite, would be Sequoia. That is the one I did a lot of research into and was trying to figure out which one could I just complete the requisite hours to kind of get in, get out with the least amount of damage, with just the least, because I'm still homeschooling my way, my method. I was just kind of doing this to get the hours, and you obviously still have to do the work to, you know, be enrolled in these courses to get the hours. So it was added extra for us. So I wanted to see which one had the minimalist, which one was the minimalist when it came to all this busy work. And I like that out of all of them, it seems that that one was the one that was least spending time on screens, least online. You could do the majority of the work in textbooks, paperwork, and then taking a picture and uploading it. The actual portion that you spent on the screen was a lot less than K through 12. I really liked that Sequoia did online speech therapy, because I was very concerned that they'd want to do it at the physical building, and you know, I have 6 kids, I'm homeschooling them. Like, there was just no way that I was gonna just drop them off, or that we could all go in there at the same time with him while he's doing speech therapy. So I really appreciate that they accommodated us and did it online, and he really did enjoy that. The teachers were fantastic. He had a couple other little classes where they just kind of went over some reading things, phonics things, and some math things. But as far as the actual online learning, the textbooks, they don't send you a whole lot of boxes, just the textbooks that you need. That's it. I like it. If you're a minimalist, you will appreciate that. Not a lot to store. Majority of the work can be done offline, just completing the worksheets. You take a picture and then you upload it. So way less screen time than K12. Just wanted you to keep that in mind. So those are my kind of updated thoughts on online public schooling at home. I don't know why programs like the Empowerment Scholarship require those 100 days in public school or a certain amount of hours of online public school. I'm not sure why they do that, but in the very least, you can use them to get a diagnosis, you know, go through that process, get an IEP to qualify for these programs that then will help you with the cost of speech therapy and other therapies and all of that. That's it for this video. If you found it helpful, then please give it a thumbs up. I have another video on K through 12, pros and cons. I will link that in a card so you can check it out as well. I know a lot of parents are looking into this. It's just kind of one of those situations. So I encourage you though to try homeschooling. I know in Arizona it's very easy to do. You just send in an affidavit. There's no like transcripts you have to send in, or this certain number of requirements or attendance. You really are just free to homeschool how you'd like. And again, I recommend the Robinson curriculum. I'll link a video explaining how to implement it, what it's all about, because really, if you're looking for a superb education, but more importantly than just acquiring knowledge, you are looking for something that will help your child be self-motivated, self-taught, to give them confidence. This is it. So I encourage you to check it out. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below, and I'll see you in another video. Bye.